This week, the Advertising Standards Authority banned a Calvin Klein advert after receiving yes, just a mere two complaints from the public that it was overly sexualised and objectified women. The advert in question features British musician FKA Twigs. I thought that was a Romanian football team. Very lightly clad in a denim jacket which just about covers her breasts and her buttocks. The model has hit out at the decision, saying that she feels double standards are at play when comparing her campaign to other Calvin Klein ads. She added that she was proud of her physicality. So, who's actually at fault here? The lingerie giant or the advertising watchdog and the people who complained? Joining me now to discuss this is discrimination and employment barrister Robin Moira White. Robin, thanks so much for joining us.
Leo, glad to be here.
And shouldn't we be celebrating beautiful bodies in adverts? It feels like we've had half a decade of complete munters.
Yeah, I think you've got two competing things. I mean, plainly, free speech isn't just about speech. If you're an attractive young person, you should be able to put yourself out there for advertising purposes, as Twigs wanted to. But equally, objectivisation of women is really dangerous for young women, particularly, who feel pressured to appear in a particular way, conform to a particular body form.
But there are probably some downsides as well.
Yes, there certainly are.
But, I mean, adverts do this for men as well. I mean, the Diet Coke ad where he's got the rippling six-pack, and obviously the Calvin Klein adverts where, you know, Mark Wahlberg has got the rippling six. There's a lot of rippling six-packs in adverts.
If you're going to advertise underwear, there's going to be a sort of beach level of nudity, undoubtedly. Otherwise, you're not going to see the underwear. Yeah. But I think there has to be a line somewhere, and the Advertising Standards Authority has had to draw a line. Yeah. And I'm glad I don't have that task to perform.
And do you think, I mean, part of the problem is that FKA Twigs, she's named after a number plate apparently, FKA Twigs just isn't wearing that shirt. It's she definitely hasn't put it on right. That's you know, when I try and dress my baby daughter, and you know she's wriggling out of the clothes.
I mean, come on,
it's barely. She's got one arm in, her bum's hanging out.
No, it's arranged for an advert, and I think, I mean, the strap line was it's got to be either Calvin Klein or nothing. Right. And she's plainly advertising the nothing.
So that could be, she could have just used anything, like a bit of curtain or anything. I mean, do you think she's got a point, though, about the double standards, or is this just a completely separate thing? Do you think if that was...
I'm not sure about double standards. I mean, it is a fairly sexual image. Yeah. I mean, she isn't actually wearing any Calvin Klein underwear in an advert.
That's a great point.
And that, you know, somewhere there has to be a line between free speech on one side and inappropriate nudity on the other. And where is that line? Yeah.
Yeah, so there has to be a line, even if it's just a small thong line. Do you think as a nation, though, as a society, we're becoming more prudish?
No, I don't think so. I mean, an advert like that 40 years ago just wouldn't have been on a billboard at all.
But 10 years ago or 20 years ago, well, probably not 10, but 20 years ago, I think it would have been, you know, during the height of the sort of loaded type mentality, I think that would have been acceptable. When Gail Porter was having her buttocks projected up onto Big Ben.
Yeah, I do think, but plainly people have different opinions. Different people would find the advert acceptable, different people would find it unacceptable.
And it's interesting that only 2 complaints actually came in. Do you think there should be a minimum level of complaint? I mean, if so many thousands of people see the advert, or hundreds of thousands, given it's Calvin Klein, and only 2 people complain.
I think if something's wrong, it's wrong. Who's to say those 2 people are right or wrong? Well, indeed, the Advertising Standards Authority is there to take that decision for us.
Yeah, and do you think the Advertising Standards Authority are perhaps just trying to make some work for themselves to make sure their nice public sector salaries and pensions keep rolling in?
I think they've got plenty to do, to be honest. I think there has to be a watchdog, because otherwise, you know, advertisers would push matters too far. The public wouldn't be protected. I mean, there are people who will happily advertise things that they shouldn't be, advertise things that are dangerous, amongst other things. Yeah. Which is something else the ASA watches for.
And you don't feel that in this case the watchdog is more of an XL bully?
No, I think that they've a job to do and they've done it. We might all have different opinions as to whether they took the right or the wrong decision in this case.
Yeah.
But somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think you make a great point that an advert for underwear should show the underwear rather than somebody.
I mean, if I was choosing what to buy, I'd like to see what's being advertised.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe a little lesson there for advertisers in the future.
I use a particular high street store that I won't advertise on your channel.
Why not? You won't tell us what the high street store is?
Its initials are M&S.
Is it Marks and Spencer's?
It might be.
I guessed it. I'm some kind of genius.
I'm an old traditionalist.
Yeah, and Marks and Spencer's make perfectly good underwear. It's not marketed as flagrantly as the Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein
and I'm sure
underwear.
no one would want to see me on a poster with a denim shirt draped appropriately.
Well, you could start an OnlyFans and put that to the test. I mean, do you think a bigger problem with advertising? We're seeing the impact. The Advertising Standards Authority mentioned the impact on young women, and we're seeing adverts on social media, on less regulated forums such as Instagram, such as TikTok, pushing harmful products, pushing inappropriate beauty treatments or damaging creams or diet pills.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a laugh about the story, but there is a serious side. And advertising can create a pressure, particularly on young people, to do things that are inappropriate and to perform, to feel they need to perform to friends or other people inappropriately. And that's an important consideration.
Yeah,